Senator Ruff, thank you for being here for this segment on VACo on the Go. What we're doing is interviewing top legislators and talking about the 2013 General Assembly, some of the highlights, some of the big issues, and specifically focusing on county issues. As you know, I'm sure from our discussions and you being at with some of our meetings, three of our top issues are aid to localities, public education, and transportation. With those three issues, can you tell me a little bit how you feel about supporting counties financially in those particular arenas?
Well, the aid to localities issue we never should have gotten into when we did a couple of years ago, but tough economic times require things that aren't always the best in the world. I think there's a commitment on everybody's part, from the governor to the General Assembly, to take care of that issue. The education, we're glad that the governor proposed 2% teacher increase. Some are concerned that that will put pressure on local board of supervisors' budgets, and it will. But the risk of losing teachers is too great. So we have to do something, and that seems like the most logical thing to do. As far as transportation is concerned, we fully understand that most new money will go towards Tidewater in Northern Virginia, but I've tried to keep rural Virginia in the game so that we don't get left out. If Northern Virginia and Tidewater are driving the train, then they will make it much more attractive for themselves in that package, and we will be completely left out of Northern Virginia. So it's important that that they understand what our issues are and what and how we can negotiate out some issues that deal with not only our bridges and our maintenance, but also with economic development.
Senator, thank you for your support. You know, for these county issues, aid to localities is really one of our biggies that we're trying to get those $45 million reinstated, so that localities don't have to come up with that local aid to the state that we've heard so much about over the last several years. I know that while you support our programs, I know that you have some specific regional issues that are happening that you're dealing with, having a lot of discussion about. One is uranium, and the other is tolling. Can you share a little bit about your insight, your thoughts on those two particular issues? Actually have bills and budget amendments in on those. So.
Well, I'll mention the tolls first, because I voted against them several years ago when it was first proposed, and I don't think it's a logical way to raise money. Certainly you get some money from out-of-state folks, but the cost of manning toll booths, the capital cost involved, means it's there are expenses that will be ongoing. So your net money for roads is not as great as it first appears to be. Plus, you slow people down, and it takes more gas to slow down and start back up. So there are good reasons why tolls are not the best way to raise revenue for the truck.
Now, was the proposal to have tolls in part of your district, senatorial district number 15?
No, it would have been in
a little bit further up,
further east.
Okay.
I don't go into Sussex and Greenville, so that's. But I do have. I used to represent those areas, so I have a lot of compassion and empathy for their issues. On uranium, that is a much more important issue for me. The impact will be felt. The actual mining would actually be in the neighboring district, but within a couple of miles of my district, the district I represent. But all the downstream communities are in my area. So from Pennsylvania, Halifax, Mecklenburg, Brunswick County, it has a number of people concerned. They're concerned about health issues. They're concerned about issues of value of property. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I can't answer some of the health questions, some of the science questions, but I can tell you that I know something about economic development. And the way the process works is that when a company is thinking about expanding to a region, they use an eraser, and they erase location possibilities until they get it down to a half dozen, and then they start making serious consideration of those sites. If there is an overall overhanging issue, a stigma to our area about the safety of their employees, their capital investments in the long term, those companies just will erase locations in Pennsylvania, Halifax, Mecklenburg, and Brunswick County. And that's it's not positive. The proponents talk about 300 jobs. Well, you may be talking about, after the regulations and lawsuits, you may be talking about 300 jobs in a decade. In that same course of time, I think that we would be looking at possibly 3,000 or 4,000 jobs that will not be coming to the area. The Tobacco Commission has done a great job of investing in infrastructure for training, for all the elements that modern manufacturing is looking for, and all of that will go for, a lot of that will go for naught if it is permitted, and in that we have that stigma, that cloud hanging over us.
Senator, can we do mining, uranium mining in the Commonwealth safely, in your opinion?
Again, I'm not a scientist. I can't tell you the safety issues. I can tell you that that you're talking about taking 100 pounds of granite out of the ground and then putting 99.5 pounds of ground up tailings of granite back into the ground. Anybody who knows much about science or even has ever dug a post hole will tell you that you can't get as much back in the ground once you loosen it up. So what are you going to do with the extra tailings? Nobody's really talked about that. Nobody's talked about the issue of how are you going to protect that from getting into the groundwater in the region. Whether they're going to use plastic liners or whatever, you're talking about things that will be radioactive to some degree. Those tailings will have some radioactive component to them for decades, if not centuries. And I'm not sure that we know where the plastic will last that long on the ground. We don't know what the rainfall will do in the long term of washing that down into the streams in high rain periods, so that it affects drinking water of all those communities that I listed before, but also Tidewater, Virginia.
You mentioned workforce development, and I know that workforce development, you've worked very hard in working with the Rural Center, and as chairman of the Rural Caucus, the Virginia Legislators Rural Caucus, I know that workforce development is very important. What else? I mean, I know that from a rural perspective, as chairman of the Rural Caucus and as chairman of the Virginia Rural Center, I know you've done a lot of work in the rural regions trying to bolster the economic activity there. Tell us what's on the horizon for rural Virginia.
Well, my vision, my belief is that rural Virginia, no matter where in the state, is great quality of life. And so what we need to do is figure out how we can attract employers to the region or grow existing employers so that young people can, if they choose, stay in the region. Working with Rolls-Royce, we better understand what manufacturing needs and expects. We have more opportunities in sites in our region than some of the more metropolitan suburban areas do. So we have tried to focus our training and plan our training out so that we're developing the skills that are necessary for those jobs. The precision, machinery skills. Rolls-Royce has gone to Danville to recruit them because they're producing more than they can use right now. But ultimately our goal is to get some of those companies, more of those companies to come to the regions in our area so the young people can stay if they choose.
Well, you've got a unique thing down, I guess, that services your district also, and that's the New College Institute. And I think that's trying to become a hub for, I guess, for training and re-educating workers. Try to put people in jobs that are coming into the area. Have you had much involvement with that over the years?
Well, I think that William Wampler has got them going in a course that will be positive. He's working with Virginia State and as a full professor of engineering on site. He's working with young people that are this year in their junior years in high school. That will develop next year into juniors and seniors, and then the year after that. Plus the existing workforce will be able to do more serious training in the new college facility, and that will mean that they can get their first 2 years of a engineering degree locally. Then they can go to any one of the schools that in the state that does engineering and get a bachelor's degree in engineering. It can also, those people who understand the process can accept jobs once they get develop those skills for the local industry if they don't want to go to college. In today's world, an industry accepted standard of certification is probably more valuable than a college degree.
Well, as I'm sure you're well aware, most businesses looking for a new home, they got to have a ready workforce.
That's right.
And that's always paramount to economic development. Senator, thank you for being with us with VACo on the Go for this segment. Senator Ruff representing the 15th Senatorial District in Southern Virginia.
It stretches from east of Hopewell to west of Danville.
Thank you for being with us.
Okay, you take care.